My name is Lieutenant Les Skaggs, the lieutenant in the Homicide Unit. First name is Les, L-E-S. Last name is Skaggs, S-K-A-G-G-S. The reason we're having this meeting today is this last Saturday morning at 00:47 in the morning, there was a shooting at 2523 West Broadway at the H2O club. At that scene, the 1st Division responded on a report of a shooting. Upon arrival, they located 1 victim deceased at the scene. 7 other individuals were struck by gunfire, transported to various hospitals in Louisville. We are coming on today because we have identified through investigation a suspect vehicle that we are seeking the public's help with in trying to locate this vehicle. The vehicle is described as a lightly colored Chevrolet Tahoe, possibly a 2007 to 2014 model. This vehicle is possibly going to have damage consistent with gunshots into the vehicle, and it's possible that this vehicle may have been disabled shortly after the incident. We're asking for the public's help in locating this vehicle, also any information on its owner or the occupants at the time of the shooting.
So, are we allowed to ask questions?
Yes.
No? I heard just through chatter that maybe this started because of a fight about parking. Have you heard about why this fight started or what led to the shooting? Was it random or was there a cause?
So at the time of the shooting, there were approximately 40 people standing outside of the club. All of our victims were shot outside of the club. We have heard those same accounts of as far as what led to the shooting was a dispute of some kind. When the dispute happened outside the bar, the suspect fired multiple rounds, striking our 8 victims.
Do you just believe it's the one suspect at this time who fired the shots?
At this time, yes, we believe it's just one suspect.
Now, we know that it was a second person shot who was in critical condition. 6 others we know are going to be okay. For that second person who's in critical condition, do you have an update on how they're doing and if they're going to live or not?
There's no update further on their condition. They still are critical, and we have not received any information from the hospital that has changed.
Has the business been cooperative with your investigation?
Yes, they have.
Can you say anything that they've been able to provide that's helped with the investigation?
Unfortunately, we're going to keep that information between us right now. Still, it's an ongoing investigation. Obviously, they have been very cooperative with us. Again, the sole thing we're looking for today is we have, through the investigation, identified the suspect vehicle. We are desperately seeking the public's assistance in trying to locate this vehicle.
Was one of the victims an employee? We heard that, according to the ABC board, it made it sound like it was an employee who was killed, but we're not sure if that's correct or not.
We have identified all the victims involved, but at this time we're not going to disclose their information or their employers.
You said the vehicle was perhaps disabled shortly after the incident. Is there any areas in which you are searching for that vehicle? At
this point, we believe it's going to be towards the front of the vehicle, but that's very preliminary. There is going to be, we believe, damage consistent with gunshot damage to the vehicle. We believe that damage occurred at the time of the shooting, and that the vehicle was possibly disabled and would not have been able to travel very far from the scene.
Does that indicate some sort of return fire, or did the suspect end up shooting their own vehicle?
That's our, initially, again, still, we believe that our suspect, when he was discharging his firearm outside of the vehicle, possibly struck the vehicle that he fled in.
So only one person, you believe, shot a gun, not like multiple?
At this time, we believe there was one suspect who discharged a firearm.
Do you believe that car might have Kentucky plates or different plates, or were you able to identify maybe what plate people should look out for?
We don't have any registration information right now. All we have is the vehicle description being a 2007 to 2014 lightly colored Chevy Tahoe with damage consistent with gunshot wounds.
I'm sorry, what was the color again?
The color is a lightly colored Chevrolet Tahoe.
Is it too impossible to be more specific with the color?
There's photos. You can see the photos that we've submitted to your all's agencies. You can decide for yourself, but the best we have right now is it's a lightly colored. From the photos taken, the lighting, We don't want to lock in one specific color. It's going to be a lightly colored Chevrolet Tahoe.
What would it mean to you guys if somebody came through with this info that you were looking for, and what sort of closure would that bring to you?
So it would be very beneficial for someone to come forward. We know that somebody knows where this vehicle is. We are desperately trying to locate this vehicle because we believe it will help lead us to identifying a suspect in this case. So that's why we are, again, asking for the community's help. And if you know where this vehicle is, to let us know so we can recover this vehicle and try and gather any evidence or further this investigation along.
This area, trouble before?
No more than any other area. We've seen violence throughout Louisville. There's no one area that's consistently has problems. To my knowledge, we have not had any, string of issues at this area at all. So it's a unique event.
I believe this used to be a former club as well that might have experienced shootings. Do you know of that at all?
I'd have to go back and look at the records to see what all has taken place there in the past.
And just right now, you guys are investigating a lot of homicides. Just for you guys right now, is it hard to keep up with all of these different shootings and homicides? And how is that going for your unit?
The homicide unit has had obviously experienced a dramatic uptick in the number of homicides over the last several years. Yes, the detectives, just like everyone else in the police department, is asked to do more and more and more. That does create a demand for there's demands for their time and their skill and their trade of being police officers. This particular incident, occurs at 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning. Obviously, we had multiple victims transported to, I believe, 4 different hospitals. So detectives have to go to the scene. They have to go to all 4 hospitals to interview the victims, and obviously, and interview witnesses, gather evidence. So yes, these type of incidents are very time-consuming and taxing, especially an incident like this where you have 8 people who sustained gunshot wounds.
Are you having increasing difficulty having people come forward with tips and information on shootings like this where there seem to be so many witnesses?
Ideally, you would hope that we would have 40 witnesses. Everyone that was there would still be there to speak to us. The reality is that, yes, we do have some people who are reluctant to stick around and talk to the police. Obviously, some of their loved ones were struck by gunfire, so they might have gone to the hospital to check on their loved ones. I'm not going to make excuses, but I would just say that, yes, we desperately need the community's help to come forward to give information, whether that's firsthand information, that what they witnessed, what they saw, what they've heard. Their knowledge and input is greatly needed to solve these cases.
Anybody else?
Do you have any info on the type of gun, and do you believe more people may have been shot?
The type of gun we are not going to disclose at this time. The number of victims, we feel confident that we have accounted for all the victims that sustained gunfire that night, with just the 8 victims.